Chinese leader Xi Jinping formally secures a third term as China's president at the CCP's National People's Congress. Xi's unprecedented power-taking since Mao Zedong. During the CCP annual parliamentary gathering, foreign reporters are hired to praise the CCP and criticize the US. Meanwhile, other Western media outlets are restricted from covering the event. For his support of the CCP and criticizing Hong Kong protests, over 100,000 signatures calling for Oscars to cancel Donnie Yen as its presenter. Commander of the United States Pacific Air Forces proposes what first move should be in case the Chinese regime invades Taiwan. Why was the Chinese internet trending video, "What can 100 yuan buy?" removed immediately?
On March 10th, Chinese President Xi Jinping officially secured a precedent-breaking third term amidst a slowing economy and rising tensions with the West. According to Reuters, the appointment of Xi to the positions of president and head of the military for another 5 years was supported by thousands of delegates at the National People's Congress, NPC, in Beijing. Xi was the sole candidate. All 2,952 delegates cast ballots to give him a new mandate. The election for the 69-year-old Xi took place at the Great Hall of the People. Xi has led China since taking office a decade ago. He renewed his 5-year term as president despite deteriorating ties with the United States and its allies over Taiwan. Willie Lam, a senior fellow at the Jamestown Foundation, a U.S. think tank, stated, in his third term, Xi will need to focus on economic revival. But if he continues with what he has been doing, tighter party and state control over the private sector and confrontation with the West, his prospects for success won't be encouraging. During the parliament session, the government established a modest 5% growth goal for this year. It follows the 3% growth in 2022, which was well below the declared growth target of 5.5% and among the nation's slowest growth rates since the 1970s. The COVID regulations that were in place for several years have harmed China's economy, including frequent lockdowns of key cities, the collapse of the real estate market, and decreased exports.
While Beijing is holding the two sessions, Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference and National People's Congress, many foreign media reporters have been restricted from gathering related information. Instead, the Chinese Communist Party's official media outlets hired foreign journalists to praise the CCP's superiority and criticize U.S. democracy. Over the past few years, the CCP has tried to portray its political system as superior to Western democracies and criticize Western media for unfair reporting of China's political system. And when there was not enough Western voices to support its argument, the CCP used their own Western voices, namely the voices of foreign journalists working for the CCP media. China Daily released a video on March 6 titled, "Foreigners Discover the Difference Between China and the U.S. from the Two Sessions." This comparison is amazing. In the video, two China Daily foreign journalists and Wang Yiwei, professor of international relations school at the Renmin University of China, discuss China's one-party system and compare it with the U.S.'s bipartisan system. In it, American journalist Stephanie Stone compared China's one-party regime to a bus where the CCP is like people sitting on a bus. Everyone agrees on where to go. The CCP aims to make the country prosperous and build a comprehensive socialist country. There are many social groups in China. Different groups have different needs, different views, and different suggestions, but in the general direction, no one objects. Besides expressing her personal views akin to the CCP propaganda, Stephanie Stone also criticized the U.S. political system. While the U.S., especially in recent years, is like an old bus parked on the roadside, and everyone can't agree on where to go, she said with a laugh. Ryan Usher, another foreign journalist, added, the CCP's current system wants to avoid the old system's weakness. That is, the parties cause division for their own interests. China Daily posted the 10-minute video on platforms inside and outside China, including Bilibili and YouTube. It also suggested the topic, the U.S. is like a broken bus parked on the roadside, and American journalists feel sorry for the U.S. political party system on Weibo's hot searches. Foreign media outlets restricted from collecting two sessions information. While foreign journalists hired by Beijing can gather information on the two sessions and praise the CCP system, foreign media journalists working in China suffer from CCP repression. According to Yin and Yang, the Foreign Journalists Association in China released its annual report on March 1st, revealing that last year, foreign journalists working in China faced strict COVID prevention measures, widespread harassment, and constant surveillance in China. Stephen McDonnell, BBC's Chinese journalist, tweeted on March 6 saying only a small number of journalists from official Chinese media outlets were allowed to attend the National People's Congress's opening ceremony, while international journalists in China were mostly banned from participating in these events. Former China Daily foreign employee Sean Haynes confirmed to VOA that compared to the treatment foreign media received at the two sessions, the CCP media had much more freedom. He wrote in a written interview with VOA, "We have an office in the Great Hall of the People, so we come and go freely, while other media, especially the foreign media, have limited hours." Haynes recalled that official media were also allowed into the hotel where the delegates stayed for interviews and filming, borrowing the foreigner's face to support the CCP. The CCP has long criticized foreign media for exposing the actual situation in China. As a result, it has restricted foreign media reporters' freedom through surveillance, harassment, and visa refusal. However, to increase its political propaganda credibility, the CCP media often uses foreign faces. Patrick Chester, a researcher at the University of California, San Diego, told VOA that this method works, at least in domestic propaganda, because the Chinese people are more susceptible to foreigners' criticism of the U.S. government. The Chinese official media have many foreign journalists featured year-round, including Helen Bentley and Rick O'Shea of Xinhua News and Eric Nilsson of China Daily, among others. But Haynes revealed to VOA that after 3 years of COVID restrictive measures, the CCP media has difficulty recruiting foreigners. Many people who used to work in those media either left or did not want to appear on the screen. Haynes himself left the agency amid dissatisfaction with the China Daily's coverage of the Hong Kong protests in 2019. He said, due to the lack of new staff, some foreigners who are not professional journalists have been hired. VOA found that Stephanie Stone and Ryan Usher, the journalists featured in the video released by China Daily on March 6, criticizing the U.S. democracy, are not specialists in Chinese or American politics. Most of the articles that Stephanie Stone wrote in China Daily were related to her daily life in China. She even has a video series called Stephanie Stone in China. In these videos, she gives her opinion after tasting many Chinese delicacies. Similarly, most of Ryan Usher's articles and videos for China Daily focus on travel.
Action martial arts star Donnie Yen recently made a shocking statement saying that the anti-extradition movement in Hong Kong is a riot, not a protest. This controversial statement triggered a huge outcry. In just 5 days, more than 102,000 people in Taiwan and Hong Kong signed a petition asking the Oscar committee to cancel Donnie Yen's role as a guest presenter at the awards. On Friday, the initiators held a press conference and delivered their message with a letter of the petition. Tang Weixiong, the Hong Kong citizen who initiated the signing, said at a press conference, "When we were in Hong Kong, we fought for human rights and freedom, not undermining society. But he, Donnie Yen, called us thugs, so I feel very uncomfortable. I initiated this joint signature. There are many different media in the world, and many different people are also paying attention to this issue." Samp, president of the Taiwan-Hong Kong Association, "I urge the American Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, the AMPAS body in charge of the Oscars, to withdraw the invitation and appeal to all parties in the world to faces and is wary of Donnie Yen, a member of the PCC, a political advisory body of China." The number of signatures on Change.org continued to snowball after this report was released. The commander of the United States Pacific Air Forces, General Kenneth Wilsbach, said on March 8th that the U.S. military would have to focus on sinking China's military ships if China's regime launched a war to invade Taiwan. According to Military.com, explaining why he got this idea, Wilsbach told reporters, "You saw when Speaker Pelosi went to Taiwan what China did with their ships. They put them on the east side of Taiwan, the side opposite of China, as sort of a blockade." According to Wilsbach, allowing the Chinese Communist regime's military to place surface-to-air missiles on board the ship will give them the ability to create an anti-access area denial engagement zone. Such an area would make China's military opponents reluctant to bring their planes in for fear of being shot down. The commander of the Pacific Air Forces regime said that the U.S. prioritizes deterrence to prevent China's invasion of Taiwan. However, one question is, if deterrence is not effective, what should the U.S. do, and what to do first? Wilsbach suggested that we got to sink the Chinese ships. He said sinking ships is a main objective of not only PACAF, Pacific Air Forces, but really anyone that's going to be involved in a conflict like this. Wilbach said that the U.S. and its allies are planning and exercising more together to prepare for a potential conflict in the Asia-Pacific region. He shared that the troops under his command frequently practice the Air Force's strategy of dispersing crews and aircraft across many islands.
As reported by Vision Times, a Chinese blogger recently tested how many necessities can 100 yuan, or about $14.50, buy in a cheap supermarket. The video then went viral on the Chinese internet but was quickly deleted. The blogger revealed it was due to the phrase, "How can they live?" for those who earn less than 100 yuan per day. On March 5th, the Twitter account Nobita Smile released 2 videos in a row on the same day in which he tested the purchasing power of 100 yuan, or about $14.50, at some same-price supermarkets in the country. He asked at the end of the video, "There are still many people earning less than 100 yuan a day. How can they live?" The video was later deleted after going viral and hit 1.6 million views. In the first video, in a large cheap supermarket, the young man is testing the purchasing power of 100 yuan by buying the cheapest daily necessities. He said at the end of the video, "Great, the buying power is so strong, we're so happy." At the beginning of the second video, the blogger said, "Let me tell you something you don't know. Not everyone can earn 100 yuan a day, so how can those who earn less than 100 yuan live?" After the video reached 600,000 views, it disappeared, said the blogger, adding that he was thinking about what was wrong with the video. Then he deleted the so-called sensitive part, added some words, "Wonderful, this society is good, this society is amazing," and reposted the video. The views then reached over 1.6 million. The blogger said each time he said good things about the society in the video, it would stay longer. Below in the video, there are some Chinese netizens' comments cited by Vision Times, such as, "I currently have to work 9 hours a day and don't earn 100 yuan. This society will sooner or later rot. It's already rotten, can't be saved anymore. I have nothing more to say. You can't expose social reality anymore. You can't even care about the weak. This kind of Nazi society should go to annihilation. This country is the worst. There is no worse place. This is an age where we can only praise those in power." There are also people mentioning the CCP's organ harvesting, saying, "Be grateful that your organs are still there."